And
Starting right now.
all right, Chair Massey, the floor is yours.
All right. Good afternoon. The April 8th, 2021 regular board meeting of the City Colleges of Chicago is now called to order. For the record, the state of Illinois, in accordance with the, for the record, the state of Illinois continues to operate under a statewide disaster proclamation, first issued by Governor Pritzker on March 9, 2020, and reaffirmed on April 2nd, 2021. I would like to also note that we continue to be subject to restrictions in the size and types of gatherings that are permissible under both the state of Illinois' Restore Illinois program, as well as under Public Health Order number 2020-9, sixth amended and reissued by the Commissioner of Health of the City of Chicago. Today, we meet virtually to undertake certain actions necessary for the continued efficient operation of the district. Will the Assistant Secretary, Board Secretary, please call the roll?
Secretary Davis.
Present.
Trustee Kent.
Present.
Trustee Lopez.
Present.
Trustee Williams.
Present.
Student Trustee Fazal Hoke.
Present.
Chair Massey.
Present. Let the record show that in accordance with the Illinois Public Community College Act and the Illinois Open Meetings Act, we do have a quorum. So good afternoon again, everyone. It was not many months ago when we gathered in the wake of senseless violence and loss of life. And during the last few weeks in our country, we have witnessed racist attacks on Asians in Atlanta and gun violence in Boulder. I'm once again struck by the question I posed last June: how can we find a better way to live with each other and respect and care for our common benefit? Racism and gun violence continue to be deep systemic issues in our American society, and it is imperative that City Colleges continues its mission to prepare students to be productive members of society and partake in the healing and re-education of our nation. While we move forward with heavy hearts, we can also look for hope and inspiration happening daily around us. For instance, Vice Chair Swanson and I had a chance to meet many of the City Colleges students selected as semifinalists. Yes.
I believe you're using the April remarks, sir.
Well, okay. That was good though, wasn't it?
Time's just as good.
This is
Fourth
good.
and encore.
So we're like, oh, that's right. Here we go. So the last time we met, the country was continuing. I like the others. The country was continuing to react to the death of George Floyd and so many others. It's distressingly, the comments are almost the same.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really distressing that you can't go from one month to the other of having to reflect on these issues of murders and injustices. I would also like to recognize that this month, it is May, is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I would like to salute the generations of Asians and Pacific Islanders who have enriched America's history. Last month, Vice Chancellor Swanson and I, along with Chancellor Salgado, Provost Potter, and the college presidents, we had the opportunity to personally congratulate many of the valedictorians and salutatorians of this year's class. Just like meeting with the Jack Kent Cook students last month, this was another wonderful occasion to meet some of our very best students and hear their stories. So on behalf of my colleagues on the board, I want to offer my hearty congratulations and well wishes to the City Colleges of Chicago's class of 2021. This really marks a momentous occasion in your education. Speaking of congratulations, I would like to also recognize Chancellor Salgado for being featured in a recent New York Times article about President Biden's free community college proposal, of which he was in favor, by the way. Now it is my honor to welcome our new student trustee, Imran Fazia Hok, who is a student at Truman College, and we're delightful to have him join the board and take up his official duties representing students from all across the district. Congratulations, student trustee. To allow for the student trustee to fully participate in today's proceedings, and with the leave of this body, I would like to ask the chief advisor to review the resolution so that we can entertain a motion on resolution 1.07 out of order for the purposes of formally appointing Mr. Fazal Hoke as our student trustee. Chief advisor,
Resolution, oh,
please
sorry.
review the resolution.
Yes, Resolution 1.07 is to appoint the student board member in accordance with the state act and the bylaws. The student body of Harry S. Truman College at a recent election selected Iram Fazal Hogue as the student board member to represent all campuses of the City Colleges of Chicago. His term is for 1 year, beginning April 15th, 2021 through April 14th, 2022. Welcome.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? We don't need a roll call, all right?
Aye.
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 Let the record show that resolution 1.07 has been approved. Congratulations, student trustee Fazal Hope. You do not have a formal report this time, but I would like you to say a few words. Now, Vice Chair Swanson and I had the wonderful opportunity to spend a few moments with our new student trustee last week, I guess. And he's just a wonderful young man. He just has a fascinating history. So if you don't mind, if you could just tell the rest of the board a little about yourself and your background.
Thank you, Chair Nsf. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Imran Muhammad, and I am a stateless Rohingya refugee from Myanmar, formerly called Burma. I would like to express my appreciation to my fellow students for trusting me with the student trustee position and for allowing me to be a voice for the students from all the city colleges of Chicago for the next 12 months. My Rohingya community has been persecuted for decades at the hands of military dictatorship. I had to flee at a very young age and lived in many refugee camps for 7 years because of my statelessness. My own country didn't allow me to get an education, but it was the first thing I wanted to do when I came to this nation in 2018. As a refugee immigrant and first generation student, I was scared and overwhelmed, and I didn't know where and how I would start my academic journey. The Truman Community College has opened the doors of opportunities for me. I became the first person in my family to obtain a high school diploma, which I did in 9 months. I envisioned going to college, but it was not easy. I never gave up, and I took one small step at a time. Today, I am completing my second year of college, and I only have 3 more semesters to earn my associate degree. When I see a student in need, I want to help. I know what it's like. I've been in their shoes. So I have joined many clubs at our campus, which allow me to provide peer mentoring support to other students. With the student trustee position, I want to learn, grow, and be a voice for our fellow students. I will actively prioritize issues like students' wellness, inclusion, equity, and listen to the students' need. I will work hard to embrace our college diversity, and I would like to set an example of hope and ambition for my fellow students. I will take the skill that I gained from this position with me to serve the diverse communities here in the United States and around the world, so that every human can have an equal opportunity to receive an education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We look forward to working with you. So, Chancellor Salgado, would you give your report, please?
Thank you, Chair Massey. I too want to reflect, and as you commented, we did get a glimpse of justice last month in the conviction of Derek Chauvin and the murder of George Floyd, and yet, as evidenced by loss after loss of life that we are experiencing across our city and across our country, before that day and after that day, we have such a long way to go. And yet an institution like ours is so important to those next steps and the journey that we have ahead of us. We also have a growing environment where institutional racism has existed for long, and racist acts are increasing by the day. So we must continue to speak out loudly and often against these racist acts of violence, and do that when they hit any member of our community, including our Pan-Asian community, as we celebrate their presence and their contributions this month. So let's just stay vigilant, engaged, and above all, hopeful. One thing that gives me hope is our new student trustee. I want to welcome you to this body, and it just gives me great joy to hear how you were welcomed to the Truman community. Student trustee, when we got a chance to talk, you got a chance to share with me the different people in our institution that were critical to your feeling at home and your finding success, and that above all, your story and the story of other students, and the way that you all are persevering regardless of circumstances and leaning on our institution for your advancement, for your growth, for your wellness, that gives me hope. And I believe it gives all of us that are involved with CCC hope. So, thank you for bringing that message of hope, for being willing to share your story in detail, however painful that may be. And thank you for your willingness to serve. And we'll always be here to make sure that your questions are answered, your input is taken, and the student voice is present in our decision making. I also want to take a moment to thank my dear colleague, Dr. Janice Jackson, CEO of Chicago Public Schools. As you know, earlier this week, she announced that she would be stepping down from her role, and just recognize the inspired decades-long service that she's provided to Chicago families as a teacher, as a principal, as a network chief, as a chief academic officer, as CEO of Chicago Public Schools, as a fierce champion of City Colleges of Chicago and our go-to partner with the Chicago Roadmap work. I admire her greatly. I had the privilege of working with her. And the work that we have put in motion with the Chicago Roadmap will have lasting impact for Chicagoans for some time to come. And we built it in a way that will outlast, and we are building it in a way that's systemic, that's between our two institutions, that as a depth that will have a life way beyond her tenure and my tenure, and our city and our students and our families will be the better for it. So I thank her for that. One of the examples of what we're doing through the roadmap is, related to this announcement that we made this past week, or last week, I believe it was, for the SEED Scholarship. We have created a new scholarship to support CPS graduates who want to become CPS teachers through the Teach Chicago Tomorrow program. So this is a scholarship that city colleges will be funding for up to 100 CPS students per year. And this is a pipeline directly from being a CPS student to being a CCC student to then getting your bachelor's degree and your licensure and going right back into the system to help the future generation. And we know that we need, more of our CPS students to do that. And so I want to thank Dr. Jackson, Sean Jackson at Truman College and his colleagues for helping shape and for hosting what I believe will become a transformative scholarship in the years to come. I also want to point out that we have a very lively Springfield legislative session going on right now. And there are a number of active bills that would have a real positive impact for community college students. And I want to take a moment to not go through the details of any one of those bills, but to thank the Faculty Council for their invitation to the recent FC4 meeting, to discuss ways in which we can work on areas of common interest where our students can benefit. The dialogue we had was incredibly productive, and I do believe holds great promise for the future. And I'd like to specifically recognize FC4 President Dr. Kpis for his leadership in facilitating this conversation. It is hard to believe that we're just about to end the semester. I want to wish everyone the best on their finals and the energy to make one last push to the finish line. I say that because this entire year has been a push, right? We've been pushed out of our workplaces, we've been pushed to do many new things. And for our students, one last final push to finals for those that are completing and those that are finishing the semester. But also we got to celebrate, So we do have our virtual commencement ceremony that will be launched on Sunday, May 23rd at 1 p.m. We are, and by the way, we'll keep that online so students and families can watch long after or at any time. I do want everyone to know that when we looked at this, and it was some time ago, we really did look in earnest at what we might be able to do in person. And at the time, we were still under very strict state COVID protocols with events not being over 50 people. And so we will be virtual again, but please enjoy the day. Make a day of it. Celebrate your accomplishments with your families and friends. And I do want to send a hearty congratulations to all of the 2021 graduates who persisted through this very, very challenging years. I also, to echo our chair's remarks, want to recognize the valedictorians and salutatorians from their college. Anytime we're hearing these stories, they're just remarkable. It's remarkable what our students are able to do. And in that vein, it's remarkable what our colleges are doing. We will have a presentation today from President David Potash and the Wright College team, providing an update on some of the college's exciting initiatives that he'll fill you in on in just a few moments. But I also want to congratulate Malcolm X College for the accreditation of their Health Information Technology program. I know the college spent significant time developing and growing a program in this high demand field, something that this district is doing, finding high demand opportunities that our students can plug into so that they can get their education, but also get into their fields and earn living. I also want to commend Malcolm X's continued partnership with the Chicago Department of Public Health, providing training for career roles critical to helping fight the COVID-19 pandemic. As you know, Malcolm X was on the front lines preparing a contact tracing corps, and now will take a lead on a vaccine ambassador program that the board will consider today. Finally, it is Teacher Appreciation Week, so we do want to make sure that we're sending that hearty appreciation to faculty, instructional staff, and all teachers that are out there. Chair Massey, that concludes my comments for today.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Salgado. So we will now move on to public participation. We do have one speaker today. A clock for our speaker. A clock will show on the screen. This clock will indicate to you your allotted time. Once that clock reaches 3 minutes, if you have not concluded your remarks, you will be asked to bring your remarks to a close, and then we will proceed with our agenda. We will appreciate your understanding and assistance in this regard. Assistant Board Secretary Kang, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Massey. We did have one registered public speaker, but they are not present. So we can move on to the next portion of the agenda, sir.
Thank you very much. We will move on to Professor Spewer and the report of the Faculty Council. Professor Spewer.
All right, Professor Spewer, you are now on.
Hello. You all are able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great, thank you. Chairperson Massey, Board of Trustees, Chancellor Salgado, Provost Potter, officers of the district, faculty, staff, and all others streaming, good afternoon. On the heels of the hatred we've seen enacted upon our Asian siblings, I want to acknowledge Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. We know that hatred and prejudice are often rooted in ignorance, so it is my hope that the district-wide programming that we have will help us to all better recognize the contributions and influence of Asian Americans and Pacific Islander Americans to the history, culture, and achievements of the United States. I'd also like to welcome our new student trustee, and I'm going to call him Trustee Imram, and I'll reach out to you to see if you'd like another name, but I remember in our last meeting, you were letting us know that culturally, you all don't have, from your culture, you don't have surnames. So Trustee Imram seems to be the most appropriate, but if you'd like another one, I'll reach out to make sure that I respect that as well. It was absolutely wonderful meeting you at the last DSGA meeting, and FC4 looks forward to working with you in the future and continuing our relationship with DSGA. As we are wrapping up this academic year, many of us are wrapping up our terms on the Faculty Council. Each college determines when they will hold their elections, so some will not hold them until the fall. However, I want to acknowledge the hard work and commitment of all of our members who will be leaving FC4. This past year has been wild, to say the least, and our institutions, our committees, and our students are better off because of the ways you all have shown up to ensure that even during a pandemic, we hold to a standard of excellence. I won't list those individuals by name today, as there will be others who will cycle off in the fall, but I want them to know that they are greatly appreciated. I have been elected to a second term and will continue to serve through the 2021-2022 academic year. Yesterday, Illinois House Joint Resolution 27 passed, which, if it passes in the Senate, will create a task force designed to study and strengthen higher education in prisons. Diverse stakeholders, including formerly incarcerated scholars, program administrators, and government officials will come together to, 1, assess barriers and opportunities to higher education in prisons in Illinois, and to 2, recommend a legislative action plan to expand access for all incarcerated and formerly incarcerated scholars. As you know, this work that FC4's Committee H has been involved in for the past 5 years. FC4 supports this resolution, and it's our hope that our administration and board members, many of you who have expressed support for this work and believe in the City College's role in addressing the needs of our communities by widening access to higher education to those impacted by the carceral system, will support this resolution and the work. Just yesterday, I received a copy of a handwritten letter from one of Professor Jennifer Alexander's students from the program that she, Professor Jessica Bader, and I began as volunteers 3 years ago, which Jennifer Alexander has continued as a correspondence course through the pandemic. In the letter, a student praised both Professor Alexander and Bader for their work, but also to ask for advice about his future. He wants to enter an associate's program in psychology, so he may be a resource to individuals like himself, whose life circumstances can seduce them into a life of crime. He wants to change things for himself and for his community. Unfortunately, right now, his only option is a correspondence program. Red flags should go up for anyone listening who knows anything about course delivery modalities. The rigor of such courses is questionable, and they're often unaccredited, and the federal government doesn't fund correspondence courses. Our program has given the student the confidence to seriously consider an academic track. We have all the resources to get him on it. However, because of inaction on the issue over the past 5 years, we will have to hand the student off to an organization that may not be beneficial to him. Our chancellor has assured us of the completion of an MOU in the first quarter of 2022 that will allow City College's faculty to teach credit-bearing courses in the Cook County Jail. We are grateful for that and hope that this young man's drive will inspire us to continue to prioritize this work. He is but one individual. There are many more like him whom we have an obligation to serve. As the chancellor mentioned a moment ago, last week, FC4 had the pleasure of sitting down with him, if you can do so virtually. We met with him virtually concerning FC4's new Legislative and Political Affairs Committee. More and more, we're finding that changes in higher education are happening in Springfield and are primarily being led by special interest groups who don't always have our students and our institutions in mind. Instead of always being on the defense, FC4 wanted to think about how we could be leaders in these conversations and help to shape the ways in which issues affecting higher education are discussed in the legislature. We wanted to take the opportunity to partner with our chancellor to work together towards common legislative goals. I won't go into much further detail about those items, but I think that this is what shared governance looks like. We create spaces to work collectively for the good of our institution. Thank you, Chancellor, for joining us. Thank you for your openness, and we look forward to meeting in the fall to begin thinking about the issues that are most beneficial for us to throw our collective energy behind for the 2022 legislative session. That meeting with the Chancellor gave us an opportunity to think about what has happened in FC4's relationship with our Board of Trustees as of late. Over the course of the last 4 months, FC4 has addressed the very serious concern of what we believe to be a conflict of interest concerning Vice Chair Swanson and her roles on our board and the Board of Partnership for College Completion. Last month, I responded to a letter FC4 received from Chairperson Massey regarding the issue. As I said then, it was terse and the tone felt somewhat dismissive. And I'm speaking very personally about it. I don't like how any of that played out. And while we may have ended in the same place, I don't think it had to have happened that way. Currently, the way in which the elected representatives of faculty communicate with the board sets us up to have confrontational relationships. I come to the board and make a report. I'm thanked for my report by the board, no matter how inflammatory the statements I make. And we either hear nothing back concerning the issues we bring forth, or I request a formal response. And at that point, I think we aren't engaging with each other. We're simply documenting grievances and responses. And what type of relationship is that? What good is a relationship in which people talk at each other and not with one another? One thing that I think we have been able to do well with our provost and chancellor has been to engage each other. It doesn't always bring us to places of consensus, but when we do disagree, and the power to make the decision lies in the other's hand, both parties expect that whatever they have brought to the table has been thoughtfully considered, and the rationale for the final decision is reflected in that process. Meeting monthly, committing ourselves to listen and understand, and really dialoguing is the mechanism which allows this. That doesn't exist between faculty and the board. Honestly, I don't know if that is something that happens between the board members and faculty. I understand that there are rules around boards that constitute what constitutes a public meeting, which can make scheduling difficult, particularly as you all are volunteers, but so are we. Other than myself, meaning I receive release time to carry out the duties of this office, everyone is a volunteer, and they do this work on top of their contractual duties. We come because we are committed to coming to the table. We'd like for you all to join us. Despite the issue that we are currently dealing with, in which we are still unsatisfied with its resolution, I'd like for us to do the same thing that we are doing with the Chancellor, to seek out opportunities for us to work together. As we are seeing legislation that can change the way our board members are selected, this seems like a good opportunity to think about our relationships outside of who and how many and how you get to where you are on the board, and focus on what we can do together and how. To do this, I think we have to consider the roles of the board and FC4 and reimagine how we interact with each other. The goal isn't to shift the institutional decision-making structure. I'm not sure that that would make any difference. Rather, the goal is to create a mechanism by which voices can be heard and affirmed by authentic responses that are nuanced and thoughtful and respectful. And that applies to all parties. I'm proposing that in the fall, some number of board members, which allows us to be nimble in meeting, gather to discuss our roles and how they align with other institutions, but also in what ways we can do something novel. Even with the hope of a return to something similar to a pre-COVID normalcy, perhaps there are some things and ways that haven't served us well and are best left in the past. I will reach out to Chief Advisor Phillips to see if we can coordinate an opportunity for us to meet under different and better circumstances to work in a more unified manner. If there are no questions from board members or any comments, this concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Professor Spewer. So I welcome your suggestion. Under the previous leadership of FC4, I met regularly, sometimes with Vice Chancellor Swanson, with the committee, and with the and your counterpart, under your past two counterparts. When you joined as president, I also requested or suggested we have such meetings. We did not, and we have not. If we would like to, I think that's a wonderful idea, and please do coordinate those through our board advisor, and we will follow you up on your offer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so now we shall move on to, my God, my computer just went out here. Okay, now, so what's going on here? Vice Chair Swanson and I, as I said, we had an opportunity to meet with our valedictorians and salutatorians, and they're a great bunch. So we do want to recognize and celebrate them as is our custom. And we have asked them to join us, those who can. Some of them work and not able to. So we're going to ask the presidents to join in helping us do that. So will the assistant board secretary prompt each of you as we go through this?
Thank you, Chair Massey. So first up is President Janowski from Richard J. Daley College. Go to the next slide, please.
I'm so pleased to present Sonina Bibian as our valedictorian of Richard J. Daley College. Sonina was born in Mexico and came to Chicago's Southwest Side at the age of 12, where she still resides. Sonina is a first-generation college student, and her passion is working with children. She originally enrolled at Daley as an adult education student and continued at Daley to earn an associate in applied science with a focus on child development, preschool education. Sonina will continue her education at National Louis University beginning in the fall and study early childhood with the goal of being an owner or a director of her own child care center. Ms. Bibian is currently a Head Start teacher at Gads Hills Center, Brighton Park, where she has worked these past years while being a student at Daley College. We congratulate Ms. Bibian. I'm so pleased to present Brolio Olmedu, who is our salutatorian of Richard J. Daley College. Brolio is a first-generation college student. He has been a lifelong resident of Chicago's Southwest Side. He earned an associate in science with a focus in biology from Daley and is now attending St. Xavier University, where he is majoring in biology. While at Daley, he was a member of PTK National Honor Society. Mr. Olmedo is passionate about saving and protecting wildlife and the rainforest and plans to work in the conservation field. We congratulate Mr. Olmedo.
Thank you. The next slide, and we have President Lopez from Harold Washington College.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon. I have the honor to present the Harold Washington College 2021 Valedictorian and Salutatorian. Our valedictorian is Kan-Ming Tony Leung. His preferred pronouns are he, him, and his. Tony's major is in civil engineering and receiving an Associate of Science degree later this month. Tony immigrated from Hong Kong just 2 years ago to pursue his dream in becoming an engineer. While at the college, he has been a member of the STEM club in Phi Theta Kappa. Tony is currently an intern at a Chicago software company. He plans to transfer to the University of Michigan to major in civil engineering and minor in data science with a focus on engineering, risk management, and construction. Yesterday, we were notified that he has been selected as one of the 70 Jack Cook Scholars for 2021, competing with over 1,300 students from 398 community colleges in the country. Tony is also a mentoring tutor at the Youth Engage and Aspired Center. I also have the honor to present our 2021 Salutatorian, and that is Ching Hong Ni. Her preferred pronouns are she and her. Ching Hong major is in science and receiving an associate degree later this month. This fall, Ching Hong plans to enroll in a dental hygiene program. When she's not in class or studying, Ching Hong likes to paint. Thank you and congratulations to our 2 students.
Thank you. Next slide, we have President Thomas from Kennedy King College.
Proud to present our valedictorian for Kennedy King College, Mrs. Stephanie Espinoza. Ms. Espinoza is a 1 million degree participant and a star scholar. She's completing her associate's in science at Kennedy King College this semester, and she will be starting at Loyola University as a biology pre-med major this fall. As you can see, she has a very bright future, and we're extremely proud of her. I'm also proud to present our Salutatorian, Maya Sheriff. Miss Sheriff is in the process. She's completed her associate's degree in arts in the fall of 2020, and she is currently a student at Governor State University, where she is studying computer science. She also has an extremely bright future, and we are very proud of her as well.
Thank you. Next slide, we have President Sanders from Malcolm X College.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to present our valedictorian and our salutatorian for 2021. Our valedictorian is Chen Ying Lo, who is a nursing student and a non-traditional student. She came to Malcolm X because really it was close to her home, and she had to learn English while she was going to school at the same time. When I talked to her about being the valedictorian, she said she didn't even know what that meant and was just really focused on doing the best work that she could to become the best nurse that she could. She will be joining a firm, a hospital very shortly as a nurse, and is excited about all of the work that she has been able to complete towards the nursing program, and we are excited for her excellent work. The salutatorian is Ernest Billinger, and you will be hearing a lot about Ernest. Ernest is an individual who went to school at a 4-year university and did not do well. That caused him to have a lot of concern and loss of confidence in his ability to do college level work, especially as compared to his brothers and sisters. He then decided to start the basic nursing certificate program at Wright College, actually, and then transitioned after he was successful there to come to Malcolm X. He has said to everyone that if he can do it, anyone can do it. And he will be featured on ABC 7 News today at 4:30 p.m. for his excellence as a salutatorian at Malcolm X.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you, President Sanders. Next slide, we have President Hollingsworth from Olive Harvey College.
Yeah, I'm super excited to bring to you our valedictorian and salutatorian for the 2021 academic year. Our valedictorian, Eniola Benkole, started at Olive Harvey College in 2018. When asked, her college advisor described her as a very diligent and self-sufficient student. She completed her Associates of Science in the summer of 2020 and plans to pursue biology at UIC via the GAP program and aspires to attend dental school thereafter. Our salutatorian, Mercy Ekbo, started taking classes in our GED and ESL program and will now go on to complete her Associate's in Science degree this spring. When she was unable to get into the BNA program due to her immigration status, she switched gears and started focusing on technology. Mercy recently participated in the 2-week molecular engineering program hosted by the Pritzker School of Molecular Engineering at the University of Chicago in partnership with the City Colleges of Chicago. She was also invited to participate in the Stanford University Shaping Our Future Summit. She has such an amazing future. While taking classes at OHC, Mercy served as a Senator of Student Government, member of Phi Theta Kappa, and an on-campus food pantry volunteer. Mercy plans to continue her education at Loyola University to study bioinformatics. Congratulations to all valedictorians and salutatorians.
Thank you. Next slide, we have President Jackson from Harry S. Truman.
On behalf of our entire Truman community, I am extremely excited to bring to you Truman's valedictorian and salutatorian. Nicholas Ranloris graduated in summer of 2020 with a 4.0 with an associate in science. He was a PTK member at his time here when he was in Truman. And he has decided to take a year off with plans to transfer to a local 4-year institution so he can remain close to his family and study computer science. He plans to use Truman's Transfer Center for support. Our salutatorian, Woodger Fargus, has his BA and wanted to study patents. So is interested in becoming a patent agent where he can help himself and others learn about and get their own patents. As a result, he needed scientific training and found that at Truman College and found that it was the best affordable option and began taking classes here in the fall of 2017. He is also a PTK member and plans to remain in Chicago and take the patent bar exam this summer. After passing the patent bar, Woodger would like to seek employment with a consulting firm to train others on how to navigate the patent process. Congratulations to our Falcons.
Thank you. Next slide, we have President Potash from Wilbur Wright College.
Good afternoon. Personally, on behalf of the entire Wright College community, we're delighted to share our valedictorian and our salutatorian. Diana Garzon is graduating with an associate's and she's focusing on political science. Diana is a star scholar. She's a star student ambassador working in our advising center. And we know, advisors have told us, she's helped with Wright's retention efforts. She's SGA president. She's a PTK member. She did the John Marshall Summer program through UIC. It was a very competitive program. She took a class on fair housing and fair lending. She did diplomacy lab work, a census fellow, making sure that there was a fair count for all individuals. Some really exciting opportunities on the transfer forefront for her. And after that, she's talking about law school. I can think of no one better in a position to make a difference. She's made a difference here at Wright, and we're just very, very happy for her. Our salutatorian, Pasquale Sanfelice, he's part of our engineering program. He's super active formally and informally. He's an engineering ambassador, which means he goes out and helps other students. He's an engineering tutor. He's been that since his second semester, ensuring student success. He's also president of American Chemical Society, and he's done research. He wrote a paper about overcoming comfort zones to better self-efficacy of engineering students. And that was accepted by the American Society of Engineering Education. He gets to present that this summer at a conference in Long Beach. He's already been accepted to the Granger School of Engineering for engineering mechanics, but there might be another option that he's going to vary. And we are just certain that they are going to be wildly successful beyond Wright. And we're very, very happy they chose to study with us.
Thank you to all our presidents and Chair Massey. That concludes the presentation of the class of 2021 valedictorians and salutatorians.
Fantastic, very uplifting. Congratulations to all the students and to the presidents and the faculty of your institution. It's time for the district update. And I think you've noticed that we've been focusing on the programmatic offerings at the individual colleges for district updates over the last few meetings. We've heard from Truman, Kennedy King, and Malcolm X. And today we'll hear from President Potash and his team from Wilbur Wright. The slides from today's presentation will also be posted with the board reports after the meeting. President Potash, please.
Thank you, Chair Massey. I'd like to thank the Board of Trustees for this opportunity to share about Wright College. And I want to start with a big thanks to Chancellor Salgado and his team for their support, for creating an environment where the college has really been able to grow. We're opportunistic about the future. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank my fellow presidents. As I said in an earlier meeting, I and my colleagues at Wright are learning, borrowing, working with all of you. Really feel like the 7 Strong is really helping us be a stronger college. I'd also like to thank the Wright College community for the work in putting this presentation together, more importantly, for helping us really renew our commitment to students. The title of this presentation is Students First. In this very, very challenging year, I think it's been that renewal to thinking about our students and putting them forward, our focus on it, that is really helping us work to become a more effective college. Next slide, please. These are the colleagues that will be presenting, I'll be sharing with today. And I also want to mention, we've invited the president and vice president of SGA. We thought it'd be hard to do Students First without having them at least share a little bit about their voice. They've been really, really extraordinarily helpful, and us learning from and hearing from the students. That happens at all the city colleges and across CCC. For our presentation, we thought that might give us a little extra validation. Next slide, please. So here's what we're going to talk about and what we're going to share about today about what's going on at Wright. I'll talk a little bit about values and strategies. My dean at Humboldt Park, Ken Santiago, is going to talk about Wright in the community and adult education. Our Dean of Instruction and Interim VP for Academic Affairs, Pamela Monaco, will talk about academic affairs. And for student services and experience, Dean Ramel Murden will provide a shape and really give you an idea of all the things that are going on. I know the members of the board have seen this PowerPoint, so we're going to try to avoid reading slides. What we really hope to do is to bring the work at Wright to life for you. We want to show you how the values that really, about Students First, coupled with, our intentionality, our use of data, the way in which we share with each other, open communication, inclusivity, and above all, a real willingness to change in this challenging environment is really shaping, propelling Wright. We don't really want to talk much about returning to normal. What we want to return to as we go through this is to better. Next slide, please. This is a kind of a high-level overview of how those values and strategies inform each other through our planning process. And I just have to say that the process and the structure and the guidelines for the strategic plan have just been absolutely essential in bringing the college together and really making sure that our individual efforts, our team efforts, our programmatic efforts align and help put students first. Our equity plan has been vitally important to the college's identity, who we are and what we do, and our commitment. Our SEM plan is rolling along. We'll talk a little bit more briefly about that, but that's extraordinarily important in terms of our enrollment management. And we quite recently have been working on a community action plan so that we are much more intentional and focused in our many, many different ways of serving our community. All of these things together, well, it's about communication, it's about collaboration, it's about really not just planning, but executing those plans and using data, all in the pursuit of really putting students first and seeing our students succeed. Next slide, please. And we've made it a habit, speaking of data, to start more than a few meetings by looking at our KPIs. These are ongoing signs of evidence of where we are and where we are not succeeding, opportunities, challenges, and those successes. I won't go through all of these. I know that you are aware of them, but I do want to highlight one major area of opportunity, one we're taking significant strides in improving, and 2 things that, well, we're feeling good about, but we want to get better. The key area of opportunity, it's in enrollment. We very, very much believe, and we have the data to prove it, if students enroll with us and cross our threshold, good outcomes are possible, and they are going to succeed. However, we, like many of our sister colleges, are not seeing the enrollment numbers that we want. We are making some organizational programmatic changes, and thanks to some city college-wide efforts that are really informing what we're doing, this is a major priority for the college going forward. It has been in the past. I think we're in a position where we're going to be making some bigger changes, and I am optimistic. And two areas that I do want to call out that we're feeling pretty positive about: we have consistently been working on retention. That is a sign of student engagement on our commitment, and we're seeing really some positive news in that front. And our completion efforts, those are just been redoubled, and we are extraordinarily keen on meeting our KPI targets and seeing more and more students complete with degrees. That's my part of this presentation. I hope that there'll be lots of questions. I'm going to stay around, and I will turn this over to Dean Santiago.
Thank you, President Potash. Next slide. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. So thank you for the opportunity to really share about the community work we're doing, both at the main campus and at Humboldt Park Vocational Education Center. We serve over 1,000 students a semester with our credit, adult ed, and continuing ed offerings. Programs such as cybersecurity and our strong manufacturing program, just to name a few. We're celebrating over 25 years of service, and thousands of students later, with a number of our local organizations that have over a quarter of a century tenure in the Humboldt Park community. We really serve and we really make a difference in the Humboldt Park community. For many years, we've benefited from our strong ties with our local community-based organizations and friends. Much of that through partnerships on grants and new and returning programs that serve our very diverse student body. Wright College is one of the larger Hispanic institutions in the state, with over 60% of our population being Latinx. We really pride ourselves in taking advantage of serving this population to the best of our ability, from programming to scholarships and more. Our adult education program is evident of that, with the Hispanic population of 75% of those students we serve. Next slide. Our role in the local community really goes beyond an MOU here and there. Our Nsf Grant with NEIU is a perfect example of how we're tackling the equity gaps connected with Latin student success and retention. The Workforce Equity Initiative grant has allowed us to bring programs such as Right Job Hire to the college, providing 5 different certificate offerings, such as solar panel installation, to cannabis processing technician training, to identified communities of color. Our intentional efforts to build a greater presence in Hermosa and Belmont community has helped us connect with organizations and parents that would otherwise have missed those services we offer. In speaking with a local church recently, they would like to offer an adult ed course, excuse me, and have a daycare to support the families who need it. That conversation happened as a result of us simply asking the question, how can we serve? We're really intentional about the work we're doing, both in the Humboldt Park community and as we get closer to the main campus. Next slide, please. We pride ourselves in fostering community within community. One really exciting, extremely important initiative is our Healthy Food Market, which serves to help with food insecurities in our communities that face them, and gives students an opportunity, a wonderful opportunity to serve directly. In just a few years, we've served over 1,500 individuals and families. Through institutions such as Kpis Compact, our students get enhanced an opportunity really to participate not only in service learning, internships, and more. Wonderful relationship. Next slide, please. Our community action plan, as the president referred to it a second ago, really captures more than just alignment between our internal and external work. It bridges that communication between partners, programming, student success, and so much more. This has been something that's been important and a priority for us, and we're just really benefiting from the work behind it. Next slide, please. Now I'd like to turn it over to VP Monaco.
Thank you, Ken Santiago. Good afternoon, Chancellor Salgado, Chair Massey, Provost Potter, Board of Trustees, presidents, and all members of the City Colleges of Chicago community. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about some of the excitement at Wright College. You have read the slides focused on academic affairs titled How We Learn, so I will not read those with you, but will instead provide the rationale for the inclusion of these items on the slides. All 4 topics, strategic planning, assessment, curricular innovation, and the Center for Teaching and Learning, represent shifts in the Wright culture. Our strategic plan has energized the college, and its implementation, called SPIT, is led by a truly cross-college model of participation. Our cannabis program began through continuing education as a way of meeting immediate need and letting us pilot the program before moving to credit. And the next cannabis program comes from working with Olive Harvey's exemplary model. Next slide, please. Assessment is no longer about the Higher Learning Commission's accreditation requirement, and now is more about how the entire college supports learning. I would characterize the shift as increasing the focus on collaboration and conversation instead of a culture of compliance. Our Center for Teaching and Learning includes faculty sharing vulnerability, sharing their struggles in this remote environment as they collaborate on expressions of empathy for students. Our 4 C's, care, collaboration, compassion, and conversation, are making a difference for our students. Thank you. And next slide, as I turn this over to Dean Murden Waldo.
Center of Excellence first. Professor.
Sorry about that. Center of Excellence. Very excited to talk about the Center of Excellence. As you can see from the data on the slide, we are doing amazing work under the leadership of Doris, of our director, who has been working tirelessly with students. She is the greatest cheerleader we have in terms of bringing in students who would perhaps not normally be considered the prime candidates for the engineering program, and they graduate with 99% completion rate and going on to both IIT and the Granger School at UIUC. These students, excuse me?
Let Doris, she's joined us. Let Doris tell
I'm
a little
sorry.
bit about
Great,
this.
thank you.
Dr.
Doris, we can't hear you.
Okay, yeah.
We can't hear you. You're on mute still somehow.
I don't think she's on mute.
No, something's wrong. David, it's okay. That's fine, Dr. Espiritu.
It's all right.
Can I just, David, take the privilege of saying, Dr. Espiritu has been representing me and the college today and CCC today at a convening of community colleges with the of the 50K coalition that has a number of national leaders. And so I appreciate her jumping on to this presentation today.
Thank you, Chancellor Salgado. I am a poor substitute for Professor Espiritu, but I'll sort of add a little bit to what VP Monaco said, and Doris will definitely also let me know if I've got wrong. We've seen tremendous growth in the engineering program, the Center of Engineering, Center of Excellence for Engineering and Computer Science. It's been growth in enrollment, growth in external funding, growth in partnerships, and above all, growth in students succeeding. The data and the numbers speak for themselves. We are currently looking for 2 full-time faculty to enhance the program. We have grant opportunities on the near future. Professor Spewer is working to strengthen not only relationships with Champaign-Urbana and IIT, but also with UIC, and we are extraordinarily thrilled to be working with Discovery Partner Institutes on the next phase of growth. We have industry partners that are growing as well, and I am just extraordinarily optimistic about the next phase of this growth. It's really taking the concept of excellence and a center of excellence and extending it really throughout the college. She's been amazing, but she's got an extraordinary team, and the faculty across the board have been outstanding.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, but I just want to finish it by saying thank you so much for covering for me. But I'm just going to say thank you, Chancellor Salgado, for mentioning about the 50K. Where I'm going to be very pleased to announce to you that we're leading the nation in terms of increasing diversity in engineering. Our increase in enrollment is 700% as of today. And as of May 1st, we are in the wait list for one of the program because of our capacity, sadly. But we're on the wait list and I cannot accept anymore. We have all this tremendous success, 700% of increase from the 2.5 years from the Nsf Grant. And I know you remember I presented the vision 2 years ago, and then 1 year into the COE, and right now we're showing tremendous results. And this is because we put in everything we do student first. And at the end, I will just say that if we truly put students first, I think capacity is our limit. And thank you so much. And I'm so sorry for my sound.
I have a question, Professor. So
yes.
Does this mean that next year we'll start seeing graduates coming out of the four-year colleges?
We already have graduated because the 2015 cohort, all of them are graduated. They already have all jobs right now.
Oh.
So 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, they're all done. They all got jobs and we can put them all into Zoom. They're very excited. So our full 2016 cohort are graduating this year. And then our Nsf Grant 2018 cohort are transferring this semester. And so there's so many wonderful things that we can share, but I just don't have it for the interest of time. But I would say the Nsf Grant is really making changes because the students we have in the Nsf Grant are not math prepared. They are developmental students, and we eliminated those remediation. And those students now are transferring to the university 2 years from starting with us in the summer of 2019. And then now they're transferring to UVI, IIT, UIC, you name it. We eliminated those transitions, and that's why the National Science Foundation is actually very excited. They're talking to me next week because they want to scale up the work we do.
It would be good if we could send us a report on where the students have jobs. That would be very interesting.
I can put all of them in a report. Thanks.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Dean Merton.
Next slide, please. Thank you, Dr. Potash, and thank you, Dr. Espiritu. I am delighted to have this opportunity to talk about Right Student Services and student engagement. Everything we do revolves around our students. Our students made the intentional decision to attend Wright College, one of the city colleges of Chicago. We too at Wright are intentional about making sure all of our students feel welcome and have access to quality instruction and support services, while embracing our core values to improve their lives and outcomes through a collaborative, equity-minded ecosystem. We all are in the position to change the trajectory of our student lives. We use our voices and platforms to open doors. We value diversity, inclusion, and the voices of all our students. Students at Wright work alongside administration and faculty in developing and recalibrating our strategic enrollment management and equity plans. Student representatives have seats at the Executive Council, are invited to administrators and faculty chair meetings, and present at the President's State of the College. They bring unique perspectives, allowing us to keep a pulse on student needs in our ever-changing environment. Next slide, please. The pandemic has been a prime example. Our students have expressed the need for continuous engagement with the Wright College community. We created virtual engagement events in response to their need, but also recognizing the need to connect our students with our Wellness Center services, our Wright Food Market, rental assistance programs, and other community services. Supporting our students holistically through a culture of care is our mission. While our data provides a visual snapshot of our efforts in recruitment, enrollment, completion, and transfer, hearing directly from our students is priceless. I am thrilled that the Board of Trustees will have the opportunity to meet a few students. At this time, I would like you to meet Diana Garzon and hear about her student experience. Next slide, please.
Hello. Thank you, Dean Romel. So as SGA, we are trusted to advocate for student voices and concerns. We have reached out to students through countless surveys and created an environment where students can approach and entrust us with their genuine feedback. In bringing light to students' needs, SGA serves on various administrative committees, as mentioned, that make big picture decisions for the college. Here, we are able to comfortably relay our concerns and provide input for how to better serve our students. For example, through overwhelming support for creating an inclusive application for all identities, Wright administration listened and welcomed our initiative. They connected us, supported us, and most importantly, made our vision in the best interest of the students feel possible. So thank you so much. And next is my Vice President, Jesse.
Hello, thank you everyone. Thank you, Diana. Hello everyone, my name is Jesse Bustos. I am VP of SGA at Wright. So I want to thank President Potash and the rest of our college for inviting us. You know, from the start, they have done everything possible to include students in all that decisions that they make. They have truly allowed our students to be heard and to be taken into account. You know, in addition to our other collaborative efforts that Diana mentioned, we are also working on with our administration on the advising structure proposal, which is essentially we are creating advising based on students' program plan of interest, which most students seem to want per recent survey. And also something that seemed far-fetched at first was our activity hour, which is essentially an hour of allotted time during the day when no classes are scheduled, and that can be used for hosting co-curricular opportunities for students. You know, at first we met with President Potash, we proposed the idea, and then he got us on a call with the right people, and now we're due for a pilot run set for fall of 2021. And just overall being part of SGA, especially this year, has taught me just how dedicated our college is to providing a platform for our students to grow and thrive. And I'm truly thankful to see these opportunities. I think it's awesome, and I think they really help our students grow because we're not really only students, we are essentially the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jesse, Diana, and really everyone who participated, and be happy to answer any questions, any comments.
I have a question. As we transition to in-person classrooms and in-person learning, are there any aspects of the virtual learning to which everyone has had to adapt that we're going to carry over and carry into this new phase? As you know, we've heard a number of times, we don't want to go back to normal, we want to go to better. And is virtual learning going to be a part of that?
Well, I'd sort of frame the response, Trustee Williams, by saying there are things that we know that are happening at Wright that we're working well, but this is also a CCC-wide effort. And when it comes to the classroom environment, for example, Provost Potter is leading discussions across the board about the best modalities, the best structure, the best support, and the best need. Locally at Wright, we've got more than a few faculty who are volunteering, eager to come back. We've also got faculty who have changed modalities a variety of different ways, and both through our assessment work, through our committee work, through our equity data, we're also digesting really student performance. And then we've also heard as well from different students what modalities work better for them. And that varies really across students, across programs, all the rest. My instinct is that this pandemic has forced some technological changes that really means that what we do, we have to accelerate to meet the students where they are. And I also anticipate that it's going to be a collaborative journey for the next, well, I don't know how long, for us to keep adapting to continue to meet the students as their needs and their priorities change.
Yeah. Any other? Okay, Trustee Williams, you have the floor. Thank you very much, President Potash and all of your team. Very exciting. I can't wait till we can visit the campuses again to actually meet people in person. Trustee Williams, would you give the report of the Finance Committee, please?
Yes. If I am was I sent a so the Finance Committee, we met and discussed the HERF 1, HERF 2, and HERF 3 distributions that we've received from the federal government. CFO Rodriguez walked the committee through all three and the allocation of each one of those pools of capital to student support and institutional. HERF 1, which we've already received, approximately 12 million was allocated to students. HERF 2, the same, and then HERF 3, which we have not yet received, will again be allocated to student support and institutional support. The institutional support for HERF 3 and HERF 2 will support the loss in tuition revenue as a result of declines. And so we received a comprehensive report from CFO Rodriguez in how all of the funds in all three pools are allocated. Does anyone from the committee have anything that they would prefer to add?
I would just say nicely done, Trustee Williams.
Okay.
Echo that from Trustee Tillman.
Thank you very much. So we will now proceed to consider the items on the consent agenda, 2021, May 6th. And the details have been posted on our board website consistent with our practice. These items were discussed in detail during the committee meeting immediately preceding the board, as Trustee Williams has noted. I will note also that Resolution 1.07 was approved earlier this meeting. So does any trustee have questions or comments on any of the items listed just described? Or would any trustee like to request separate action on any of the items? We will have separate action on, which item is that?
Item
Board
3.00, the resource development report, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other items trustees would like to call out? If not, may I have a motion to approve the minutes, resolutions, the personnel report, agreements, purchases, and the legal invoices contained in the consent agenda and identified as part of the printed agenda on a single roll call vote? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And moved and second. Assistant Board Secretary, will you call the roll?
Vice Chair Swanson.
Approved.
Secretary Davis.
Approved.
Trustee Kent.
Approved.
Trustee Lopez.
Approved.
Trustee Tallman.
Approved.
Trustee Williams.
Approved.
Student Trustee Fazel Hoke.
Approved.
Chair Massey.
Approved. So thank everyone, and we'll let the record show that the minutes, resolutions, the personnel report, the resource development report, agreements, purchases, and legal invoices included on the May 6, 2021 consent agenda have all been approved. We will now consider item 3.0, the resource development report, the Chief of Staff of Strategy Herrero. So may I have a motion to approve item 3.00, the resource development report on a single roll call? Yeah.
Before we do the motion and the vote, we will need Chief of Staff Herrero to review the report.
Okay. Would you do that?
Thank you, Chair Massey. So lucky you get to hear my report all over again. And happy to deliver it again. So the May Resource Development Report includes 3 grant proposals funded and received totaling $842,000. Additionally, there were 6 grant applications submitted totaling $3.5 million. Awards received include a new gift of $600,000 from the PepsiCo Foundation and $230,000 from a new funder, the Sumerian Foundation. The PepsiCo Uplift program provides critical scholarship resources and high-touch support for Black and Latinx students and will enable us to create a more intentional and effective pipeline for Black and Latinx students successfully navigating our degree, certificate, and continuing education programs. And this will result in long-term career placement in high-growth occupations and economic impact for the communities where they live. The program will support 160 students across our programs. The Sumerian Foundation grant will support a total of 20 students to enroll in the Software Development Associate's degree program at Wright College and to participate in an accelerated software engineering apprenticeship program. We are incredibly excited to be able to offer these programs to our students. In section 2 of the report, you will see a summary of the 6 new grant applications. Among them is a $1 million ask for the Chicago Roadmap from the Bloom Family Foundation for a Master Builder program, and the U.S. Department of Energy subaward through ACOM's ask of $2.2 million. The Master Builder program outlined in the Bloom Family proposal will allow CPS students to opt into a Master Builder program while in high school and earn credits to transfer into an AAS pathway at Dawson Technical Institution at Kennedy King. In section 3, I am reporting that City Colleges and the City Colleges Foundation received a total of $333,175 in donations. Notably, Malcolm X received $100,000 from Delta Dental, and the CCC Foundation received $225,000 towards Chicago Star Plus from the Foundation, John and Mindy Gray Foundation, and former Mayor Rahm Emanuel and Amy Rule. The Star Plus Scholarship Fund was founded by former Mayor Rahm Emanuel and his wife, Amy Rule, earlier this year. The new Star Plus Scholarship Fund will support City Colleges of Chicago Star Scholar graduates that maintain a B average or better and who are admitted to 4-year education institutions. The fund's objective is to ensure that more students can access viable pathways to 4-year institutions and pursue their bachelor's degrees. Star Plus scholars will receive $5,000 in scholarships over 2 years. And in addition to their seed gift, former Mayor Rahm Emanuel and Ms. Rule intend to make annual gifts and seek support from others to meet their ambitious goal of supporting 1,000 scholarships or up to $5 million. Now, per discussion at the committee meeting earlier today regarding section 2 of the resource development report, the following revision will be made to the description of the Connected Communities grant application. The report will be revised to read 1.2 million of the grant funds will be used for tuition reimbursement for a CCC 4-credit hour energy and society class, which is currently in development for up to 2,100 students over 5 years. And this concludes the May Resource Development Report.
Thank you very much. So may I have a roll call motion to approve the resource development report? May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Second, in favor? No, you need a roll call, I'm sorry.
Vice Chair Swanson,
Approved.
Secretary Davis,
Approved.
Trustee Kent,
Approved.
Trustee Lopez,
Approved.
Trustee Tallman,
Approved.
Trustee Williams,
Approved.
Student Trustee Falzell Hoek,
Approved.
Chair Massey.
Approved. So let the record show that item 3.0 has been approved. So now, in accordance with the Illinois Open Meetings Act, the board may hold a closed session for the discussion of matters related to a number of specified topics. Today's closed session will be for the discussion of matters related to 2C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body. May I have a motion to go into closed session with a roll call vote?
So moved.
Motion. Second.
Vice
Please call the roll.
Chair Swanson,
Approved.
Secretary Davis,
Approved.
Trustee Kent,
Approved.
Trustee Lopez,
Approved.
Just a second.
Trustee Tallman,
Approved.
Trustee Williams,
Approved.
Student Trustee Falzell Hoek,
Approved.
Chair Massey.
Approved. So let the record show that the motion has been approved. For those of you who will be viewing the live feed, it will remain active, although you will see a notice that the board is in closed session. We will return to formally adjourn today's proceeding. For those of you who decide to depart before we return, thank you for joining us. And you can look to our website, www.ccc.edu, for information on our next meeting. So trustees, please, we'll go to the closed session in 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, we're all back. So the May 6th, 2021 regular board meeting is now reconvened. There was no action taken during closed session. We will provide updates on our website, www.ccc.edu, as they relate to our next meeting or any changes to our existing plans. There being no further business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Have a good Mother's Day if you're a mother, if your mother's around to have one with. Thanks.
Thank you.